It began with a single ticket. Not the kind that changes lives with a stroke of luck, but one that would unravel thousands. On a sweltering July afternoon in 2018, Maria Gonzalez wiped down the counter of her family-owned convenience store in Fresno, California, when a customer slapped a lottery ticket onto the glass. "Check this," he said, eyes wide with disbelief. Maria scanned it, her fingers freezing over the keypad. The screen flashed $1 million. The man's laugh echoed through the store as he demanded his cash. Maria hesitated. Something felt off. The ticket's hologram shimmered just a little too brightly, the serial number slightly misaligned, but the system registered it as valid. She paid him $500 on the spot, promising the rest after verification. By nightfall, the California Lottery office called her. "That ticket doesn't exist." Maria wasn't alone. Across the state, identical tickets flooded stores, from dusty gas stations in Bakersfield to upscale markets in Beverly Hills. Each bore the same design. The golden California Lottery logo, a barcode that scanned cleanly, and a jackpot amount that made hearts race. But these tickets were ghosts. They had no record in the state's database, no trace of purchase. Yet they were real enough to fool cashiers, scanners, and even seasoned lottery agents. The scam wasn't a fluke. It was a blueprint. And it all started with a single ticket. The mastermind behind this operation wasn't some shadowy corporate tycoon, but a man who'd spent years studying the cracks in the system. His name was Michael Torres, a 34-year-old ex-printer technician from East LA with a knack for slipping through the margins. Michael wasn't born a con artist, but he'd learned early how to bend rules. At 19, he'd forged bus passes to ride free across the city. By 25, he'd sold fake backstage passes to concerts, pocketing thousands. But lotteries? That was his obsession. He'd spend hours in convenience stores watching how clerks processed tickets, how the machines beeped, how people reacted when they won. He noticed something critical. No one double-checks a winning ticket. The moment the screen flashed, "prize claimed," skepticism vanished. Greed took over. Michael's breakthrough came in 2017, when he stumbled on a Craigslist ad for decommissioned lottery printers. The California Lottery had upgraded its equipment, and an employee, unaware of the machine's residual value, was selling old units for scrap. Michael bought 3 for $800 each. In his garage, he reverse-engineered their software, using forums where ex-employees traded secrets. He learned how to replicate the lottery's security features, the UV ink, the microprinted text, the barcode algorithms. But the real genius was his distribution strategy. He didn't sell the fake tickets himself. Instead, he paid others to do it, cashiers at struggling stores, delivery drivers, even homeless individuals. For $50 a day, they'd slip counterfeit tickets into real rolls, letting customers find them by accident. The victims never suspected the people they trusted most. One such victim was James Carter, a retired firefighter from San Diego. On August 3, 2018, James bought a $20 scratch-off on his way to church. He peeled back the silver coating to reveal $1 million. His hands shook as he drove to the nearest lottery office, where an agent confirmed the win. James called his wife, sobbing. They booked flights to Hawaii, paid off their mortgage, and donated to their church. 3 days later, the call came, "Your ticket is fraudulent." The money vanished. James's story wasn't unique. By mid-August, over 200 people had reported identical scams. The California Lottery office dismissed it as isolated fraud, until the numbers didn't add up. Legitimate jackpots were being claimed twice, sometimes 3 times, in different cities. Someone had hacked the system from the outside. But how? The lottery's security was supposed to be airtight. Each ticket was serialized, tied to a specific retailer, and logged in real time. Yet here were duplicates, identical barcodes, identical prize amounts, appearing in stores hundreds of miles apart. Investigators traced the first anomalies to a 7-Eleven in Sacramento, where a cashier admitted under interrogation that she'd been paid to lose tickets from her register. She described a man in a black hoodie who visited weekly, slipping her envelopes of cash. He never touched the tickets himself. He didn't need to. His network was everywhere. The college student stocking shelves at a Chevron, the Uber driver who found a winning ticket in his car, the bartender who handed them out as lucky charms. Michael Torres had turned ordinary people into unwitting accomplices, each believing they were the only one in on the scheme. The deeper the lottery office dug, the more unsettling the pattern became. The fake tickets weren't random. They targeted smaller jackpots, $500, $1,000, amounts that wouldn't trigger immediate audits. But collectively, they bled the system dry. One analysis showed over $3.2 million paid out on counterfeit claims in 6 weeks. And the scammers were getting bolder. On August 22nd, a woman in Long Beach tried to claim $5 million with a ticket that, according to records, had never been printed. When confronted, she insisted a stranger had given it to her as a blessing. Surveillance footage showed her arguing with lottery staff, clutching the ticket like a holy relic. She wasn't lying. She genuinely believed it was real. Michael Torres watched it all unfold from a rented apartment in Glendale, where he monitored news coverage on a laptop. His operation was a Rube Goldberg machine of deception. Every moving part depended on human greed, institutional trust, and the sheer improbability of someone questioning a winning ticket. He'd studied psychology enough to know that when hope collides with proof, hope wins every time. People didn't want to believe they'd been scammed. They needed to believe they'd won. That's why Maria Gonzalez paid the first claimant without hesitation. That's why James Carter spent his phantom fortune before verifying it. That's why the cashier in Sacramento kept her mouth shut for weeks. Michael didn't just fool people. He made them complicit in their own deception. By late August, the California Lottery Office sounded the alarm. They issued a statewide alert, urging retailers to inspect tickets for microscopic inconsistencies. But the damage was done. The scam had metastasized. In Modesto, a man mortgaged his home to invest in more winning tickets, sold by a self-proclaimed lottery consultant. In Oakland, a church group pooled donations to buy bulk tickets after a member won $25,000. The fraud wasn't just stealing money, it was hijacking dreams. And Michael Torres was just getting started. The final straw came on September 5th, when a high school teacher in Santa Ana tried to claim $10 million with a ticket that, forensic analysis revealed, had been printed on a machine stolen from a lottery warehouse 6 months earlier. This wasn't a rogue operation. It was a coordinated assault. The lottery office called the FBI. By dawn, task forces were combing through security footage, tracing financial trails, and interviewing victims. But Michael had planned for this. He'd used burner phones, untraceable cash payments, and layered his network like an onion, each layer unaware of the next. The first arrests would take weeks. The truth? It was buried under a mountain of counterfeit paper. It all started with a single ticket. But by the time anyone realized it, the machine was already in motion. And in California, where hope is currency, the most dangerous con isn't selling lies. It's selling dreams. The warehouse smelled of burnt coffee and desperation. Tucked behind a shuttered auto shop in Commerce, California, Michael Torres stood over 3 decommissioned lottery printers he'd bought for scrap. Their metal frames were dented, their screens flickering with error messages. But to Michael, they were golden. He'd spent 6 months reverse engineering their code, poring over leaked lottery manuals, bribing a night shift technician at a printing plant, and testing ink formulas in his bathtub. Now, as the first counterfeit ticket rolled off the press on a humid June night in 2018, he didn't smile. He studied it. The hologram caught the dim bulb light just right. The barcode beeped cleanly when scanned. The serial number? A perfect replica of the state's algorithm. Every detail was calculated, every move deliberate. Michael's operation wasn't a garage hobby, it was a factory. He'd converted the warehouse into a 24-hour production line. 2 ex-convicts he'd met in county jail ran the presses, feeding blank stock through rollers that stamped UV ink and microprinted text invisible to the naked eye. A third accomplice, a former graphic designer drowning in debt, handled the digital side, hacking into the lottery's public prize database to mimic real winning combinations. They printed 500 tickets an hour, $500, $1,000, $10,000 winners, never the headline jackpots that triggered audits. Each batch was tailored to specific regions. $500 tickets for rural gas stations, $2,500 for urban bodegas. They weren't just selling dreams, they were mass-producing lies. The real genius was in the flaws. Michael deliberately added tiny mistakes only insiders would spot. A hologram slightly off-center, a barcode with one misaligned pixel. Why? So when victims tried to cash in, lottery agents would dismiss discrepancies as printer errors rather than fraud. The system assumes human error, not conspiracy, Michael told his crew. He'd seen it firsthand when he worked at a print shop servicing lottery retailers. One night, a clerk called complaining about glitchy tickets. The supervisor sighed, "Just rescan it. Happens all the time." That complacency was his weapon. Distribution was a masterpiece of exploitation. Michael never touched the tickets himself. Instead, he built a pyramid of pawns. Retailers, struggling store owners like Maria Gonzalez from Chapter 1, were paid $200 to lose counterfeit tickets in their registers. One owner in Bakersfield confessed later, "I thought it was harmless, like giving away free samples." Drivers, Uber and Lyft drivers received $50 to leave winning tickets on back seats. A driver in San Francisco described it, "I'd wipe the seat with a wet cloth, then find the ticket. Passengers always believed me." The desperate, homeless individuals were paid $10 to hand tickets to strangers with a sob story. "My kid's sick. Please take this blessing." They moved 8,000 tickets a week. By July, the scam had bled $1.7 million from the system. But Michael wasn't done. He'd studied how lotteries tracked fraud and exploited their blind spots. Legitimate tickets were serialized and tied to specific retailers. His counterfeits? They used real serial numbers stolen from unsold rolls. How? Through Luis Mendez, a lottery warehouse supervisor who'd been skimming blank tickets for years. For $5,000 a month, Luis fed Michael unprinted stock with valid serial ranges. "It's like giving someone your house keys," a later FBI report noted. They didn't just break in, they walked through the front door. The operation's scale became horrifyingly clear in early August. A lottery auditor in Sacramento noticed identical $1,000 winning tickets claimed in 3 cities within 24 hours. 8:17 a.m. Cashed at a Chevron in Fresno by a retired teacher. 1:44 p.m. Redeemed at a 7-Eleven in San Jose by a college student. 6:02 p.m. Presented at a liquor store in Sacramento by a construction worker. All shared the same serial number. CS7X9B2R8K3P. Impossible. The state lottery's database showed only one ticket with that code, printed for a store in Bakersfield that had reported it lost. Investigators traced it to Luis Mendez's warehouse. But when they raided his home, they found only shredded documents and a one-way bus ticket to Tijuana. Meanwhile, Michael was already pivoting. He'd shifted to instant redemption scams. Tickets that appeared to pay out $50 to $100 at the register, small enough to bypass verification, but were actually worth nothing. Cashiers paid out $300,000 in fake micro-winnings before noticing the pattern. One victim, Rosa Martinez, a single mother in Riverside, nearly lost everything. On August 12th, she bought a $5 scratch-off at her local market. The ticket flashed $100. The cashier paid her immediately. Over the next 2 weeks, Rosa returned daily, buying more tickets from the same store, lucky because she'd won before. She spent $800 chasing phantom wins, maxing out her credit card. Only when her nephew, a computer science student, examined the tickets under a blacklight did she see the truth. The UV ink glowed blue instead of the lottery's standard green. By then, the store owner had vanished. Michael's network thrived on compartmentalization. The printer operators never met the distributors. The homeless blessing couriers didn't know the tickets were fake. They thought they were spreading good luck. Even his inner circle had no idea of the full scope. "He'd give us tasks like a puzzle," said Javier Ruiz, the graphic designer, during his later testimony. "One week I'd design barcodes, the next fake validation codes. I didn't connect the dots until I saw my own work on the news. The warehouse itself was a fortress of misdirection." It sat behind a chain-link fence plastered with condemned signs. Inside, the printers hummed behind soundproofed walls lined with stolen lottery posters. Play responsibly, and your ticket supports public schools. Irony was Michael's favorite seasoning. He even installed a fake security camera pointing at a blank wall, a decoy for curious neighbors. When a power outage hit the block one night, he rerouted cables through a neighbor's shed, paying the elderly owner $100 a week to ignore the noise. By mid-August, the operation had evolved into something darker. Michael began targeting lottery agents themselves. He'd send anonymous tips to small-town retailers. A winning ticket will be left at your store tomorrow. Claim it for yourself. Greed did the rest. In Reading, a lottery agent pocketed $2,000 from a counterfeit $5,000 ticket, reporting it as lost. In Palm Springs, 2 agents split $7,500 from 3 fake winners. Michael called them the silent partners. They didn't print the tickets. They didn't distribute them. But they enabled the fraud and kept their silence for a cut. The breaking point came on August 28th. A woman in Santa Ana tried to claim $250,000 with a ticket that scanned as valid, but the lottery's back end showed it had never been activated. Forensic analysis revealed why. Michael's team had hacked into the lottery's testing environment, a digital sandbox where new tickets were trialed before release. They'd stolen unissued serial numbers, making the tickets appear legitimate in the system. This wasn't counterfeiting. It was digital tomb raiding. When the California Lottery office finally grasped the sophistication, panic set in. Their security director admitted privately, "We were fighting a ghost. Every fix we made, they'd already bypassed." But Michael had one critical vulnerability: his ego. He'd started leaving signatures, tickets with serial numbers spelling MT in alphanumeric code, e.g., MT7X9B2. A sharp-eyed auditor spotted the pattern. It was the first tangible thread investigators could pull. As September dawned, the warehouse buzzed with tension. Michael ordered a final print run, 10,000 tickets for the big play, but his crew was fracturing. Javier Ruiz had quit after seeing news reports about Rosa Martinez's suicide attempt. She'd overdosed on pills after losing her savings. The printer operators demanded double pay, fearing arrest. And Luis Mendez's disappearance had left them scrambling for new serial numbers. On September 3rd, Michael stood alone in the warehouse, watching the presses roll. The machines groaned like tired beasts, spitting out tickets that would ruin lives. He picked one up, the hologram shimmered under the bulb. For the first time, he didn't see a masterpiece of deception. He saw a tombstone, but the machine was already in motion. The presses rolled. The money flowed, and California kept dreaming. Maria Gonzalez's hands didn't shake when she scanned that first fake ticket. They froze. The screen flashed $1 million, and her mind short-circuited. She'd worked the lottery counter for 12 years, memorized every hologram, every barcode glitch, but this ticket felt legitimate. The paper had the right weight. The ink didn't smudge. When the customer laughed and slapped the counter, shouting, "I'm rich," Maria paid him $500 without a second thought. Because when it looks real, we stop asking questions. That's exactly what Michael Torres banked on. He didn't just replicate the lottery's security features. He weaponized human psychology. The California Lottery spent decades conditioning people to trust its aesthetics. The gold foil seals, the crisp paper stock, the satisfying beep of a winning scan. Torres studied this like a scientist. He knew that when hope collides with proof, hope always wins. People don't want to believe they've been scammed, they need to believe they've won. And the lottery's design made that need irresistible. Consider the $500 ticket Rosa Martinez bought in Riverside, Chapter 2. It felt substantial in her hand, the scratch-off coating yielding smoothly under her thumbnail. When it revealed $100, the cashier didn't hesitate. The register beeped, the screen flashed red, and Rosa walked out with crisp bills. No ID check, no verification call, just instant validation. That's the lottery's genius and its Achilles heel. For decades, it trained Americans to equate that sound with truth. Torres hijacked that reflex. His tickets triggered the same neurological reward pathway as real wins. Dopamine flooded the brain, clouding judgment. Rosa spent $800 chasing more wins because her body remembered the rush, not the logic. Then came the media. On August 10, 2018, a local news crew filmed James Carter, the retired firefighter from Chapter 1, outside the lottery office, waving his $1 million ticket. "God blessed me," he shouted, tears streaming. The clip went viral, retweeted by influencers, shared by churches, splashed across KTLA News. No one asked why the ticket looked slightly glossy. No reporter checked if the serial number matched lottery records. They saw a smiling winner and ran with it. A lie repeated often enough becomes truth. By noon, 3 other winners in San Diego posted identical videos using Torres's counterfeit tickets. The news cycle didn't investigate. It amplified. Social media became Torres's unwitting accomplice. A Facebook group called CA Lottery Winners Unite exploded to 12,000 members in 2 weeks. Members traded tips. "Go to the 7-Eleven on Main Street, they have hot tickets," or "Ask for the clerk with the blue apron. She gives extra chances." These weren't rumors. They were Torres's scripts. His distributors seeded the group with fake posts, creating a self-sustaining echo chamber. When a skeptical user commented, "How do we know these tickets are real?" they were flooded with photos of winning tickets, many bearing Torres's blue UV ink. Trust wasn't broken. It was crowdsourced. Take the case of Pastor David Chun in Fresno. On August 15th, a woman collapsed at his church service, clutching a $25,000 lottery ticket. "A miracle from God," she sobbed. Chun blessed the ticket on stage, declaring it divine provision. That night, 47 congregants bought tickets at the church-adjacent market. 6 won small amounts, exactly as Torres planned. By Sunday, Chun announced a blessing lottery, $20 tickets funding a new community kitchen. He collected $14,000 before realizing every winning ticket had the same flaw. The state seal's eagle had 7 tail feathers instead of 8. But by then, the damage was done. When hope wears a halo, even pastors stop counting feathers. The lottery office's own protocols fueled the fire. Their training manual stated, "For claims under $600, trust the scanner." Why? To keep lines moving. But Torres exploited this blind spot ruthlessly. His micro-win tickets, $50 to $200, triggered instant payouts, no manager approval, no database check. Cashiers like Maria Gonzalez were trained not to question them. One clerk in Stockton admitted, "If the machine beeps, it's real. That's what corporate told us." Torres made the machines lie and the system obeyed. By August 20th, over $300,000 in fake micro-wins had been paid out. The office only noticed when a single store in Bakersfield processed 47 winning tickets in one shift, more than its monthly average. Then there were the near misses. Torres printed tickets that almost won. Match 4 of 5 numbers. Try again. With a free ticket coupon. Victims like college student Aisha Patel bought 5 more, chasing the illusion of being so close. Aisha spent $120 in one afternoon, convinced the system was teasing her with luck. Her psychology professor later explained, "Near misses activate the same brain regions as actual wins. It's why slot machines are addictive." Torres turned convenience stores into dopamine labs. The most chilling enabler? The victims themselves. When James Carter's win was revoked, he didn't blame Torres. He blamed the lottery office. "They're stealing from me." He started a Change.org petition demanding his rightful million. Rosa Martinez confronted her cashier, screaming, "You stole my money," while clutching the counterfeit ticket. Torres understood a dark truth. When dreams shatter, people lash out at the truth-tellers, not the liars. The lottery office's fraud alerts were met with rage. One victim in Oakland smashed a lottery kiosk, yelling, "You're all in on it." Even law enforcement stumbled. When the FBI raided Luis Mendez's warehouse, Chapter 2, agents found shredded tickets bearing serial numbers matching legitimate wins. They assumed the lottery had misprinted duplicates. a clerical error. It took forensic accountant Linda Ruiz 3 weeks to spot the pattern. All duplicate tickets shared identical paper batches from a single printer. That's when I realized, she testified later, we weren't dealing with errors. We were dealing with a ghost. But by then, Torres had already shifted tactics. The breaking point came on August 22nd in Long Beach. A woman named Evelyn Reed tried to claim $5 million with a ticket that scanned as valid. Lottery agents stalled her for hours running tests. Evelyn grew frantic. She'd mortgaged her home to invest in more tickets after a consultant, Torres's distributor, told her the big one is coming. When agents finally declared it fake, Evelyn collapsed. Paramedics found her clutching the ticket, whispering, "It's real. It has to be real." She wasn't lying. She believed. Her brain had rewritten reality to protect her hope. Torres watched Evelyn's news coverage from his Glendale apartment. He didn't feel guilt. He felt validation. His greatest insight wasn't technical, it was emotional. People don't buy lottery tickets for money. They buy them for permission to dream. A single mother imagines quitting her job. A veteran pictures his daughter's college fund. Torres sold those dreams, then weaponized the desperation behind them. When the cashier paid Maria Gonzalez's first claimant, she wasn't just processing a ticket. She was handing him a lifeline. And no one cuts a lifeline. By late August, the illusion was unbreakable. In Modesto, a man sold his truck to buy guaranteed winning tickets from a stranger. In Oakland, a church group pooled $8,000 after a member won $25,000. The tickets weren't just paper. They were mirrors reflecting what people needed to see. Torres's printers didn't forge holograms. They forged certainty. And in America, where dreams are currency, certainty is priceless. The California Lottery Office finally issued a warning on August 28th. Inspect tickets for microprinted text. CA Lottery should appear between the state seal and barcode. But it was too late. Thousands had already spent life savings. The real tragedy wasn't the money lost. It was the trust shattered. When Maria Gonzalez scanned her next ticket, her hands shook. She checked the microprint. She verified the serial. She called the hotline. And when the customer, a hopeful teenager, saw his $50 win rejected, he didn't curse the system. He cursed her. That's the power of a well-crafted lie. It doesn't just deceive the eyes. It rewires the soul. And in California, where hope is the only thing cheaper than dreams, Michael Torres sold paradise one counterfeit ticket at a time. The TV screen flickered with Evelyn Reed's tear-streaked face as Michael Torres peeled an orange in his Glendale apartment. Outside, sirens wailed. A false alarm, probably. Inside, the air smelled of citrus and printer toner. He muted the news report about her $5 million ticket being a sophisticated fraud. Sophisticated. He smirked. They had no idea. On the coffee table lay 3 burner phones, a stack of counterfeit tickets, and a dog-eared copy of The Art of War. Page 47 was dogged. All warfare is based on deception. Michael didn't just fool people, he made them want to believe. Michael Torres wasn't born with a silver tongue. He was born with a hole where trust should have been. Raised in a Boyle Heights apartment where the electricity got cut more often than the grass got mowed. He learned early that the world only gives to those who take. At 12, he forged his teacher's signature on report cards. At 16, he sold VIP backstage passes to a Nipsey Hussle concert, printed on his mom's HP printer, good enough to scam 37 kids out of $50 each. But lotteries? That was his obsession. He'd spend hours in stores watching winners. The gas station clerk who bought a $1 scratch-off after her shift. The construction worker who rubbed a ticket on his forehead like a prayer. Their hope was palpable and exploitable. His real education began at 22, working graveyard shifts at a print shop servicing lottery retailers. While others fixed jammed printers, Michael memorized security protocols. He saw how clerks ignored glitchy tickets because corporate blamed them for scanner errors. He noticed how lottery agents processed $500 claims in 90 seconds flat. No ID, no hesitation. One night, a supervisor caught him examining a winning ticket's hologram. "Don't touch that," the man snapped. It's evidence. Michael smiled. Evidence of what? That night, he stole a blank roll from the trash. By 2017, he'd graduated to small-time scams. He'd approached desperate people outside unemployment offices. I know a guy who can get you a fake winning ticket. Costs $100. You cash it. Split the $500 with me. Most called him a liar. But some, like Javier Ruiz, the graphic designer drowning in student debt, bit. Javier became his first recruit. Michael paid him $300 to replicate lottery fonts using Photoshop. When Javier hesitated, Michael leaned in. You think the system cares about you? It's rigged against people like us. I'm just leveling the field. Desperation makes us vulnerable. Javier signed up. The warehouse operation, Chapter 2, was built on that same alchemy of need and manipulation. Michael didn't hire criminals, he hired the broken. Luis Mendez, the warehouse supervisor who stole serial numbers, his daughter needed a $200,000 bone marrow transplant. The Uber driver who planted tickets, a veteran with PTSD whose VA benefits got cut off. Even Rosa Martinez's nephew, who examined her fake ticket under blacklight in Chapter 2, was recruited after Michael found his lost wallet, then offered $500 to test a new lottery app. Just scan tickets at your campus market, Michael said. No risk. Free money. The kid never asked why the app glitched when scanning real tickets. Michael's genius was making accomplices feel like heroes. To Luis Mendez, he framed the theft as borrowing from a corrupt system. To the homeless blessing couriers, he called them angels delivering miracles. One distributor, a single mother named Keisha, testified later. He made me feel like I was helping people, like I was part of something bigger. She'd hand tickets to strangers with tears in her eyes. My grandma prayed for this to find you. Please take it. She believed her own lie. His recruitment pitch was always the same. They steal from you every day. This is just taking back what's yours. He'd cite lottery statistics. California takes 40% of ticket sales, mostly from poor neighborhoods. They build schools in Beverly Hills while our kids get textbooks from 1998. It wasn't entirely false. But Michael never mentioned he pocketed 90% of the scam's profits. In his Glendale apartment, he kept a safe with stacks of cash labeled Beverly Hills School Fund. He'd laugh every time he added a bundle. The operations hierarchy was designed to protect him. Level 1. Pawn retailers, like Maria Gonzalez, paid $200 to lose tickets. Level 2. Distributors, drivers, homeless couriers, paid $10 to $50 per ticket planted. Level 3. Specialists, Javier for design, Luis for cereals, paid $500 to $5,000 monthly. None knew Michael's face. He communicated via encrypted apps using burner phones, always speaking in a distorted voice. When Luis Mendez vanished after the warehouse raid, Chapter 2, Michael simply texted, "New contact incoming." Luis Riloukatid. No one questioned it, but the cracks were showing. On August 30th, Javier Ruiz quit after seeing Rosa Martinez's suicide attempt on the news. Michael tracked him to a taco truck in East LA. He didn't threaten him. He bought 2 carnitas burritos, handed Javier $2,000 in cash, and said, "You helped feed families." Rosa's problem wasn't the ticket. It was her choices. Then, quieter, "You think the lottery office cares about her? They'd rather blame you than admit they got hacked." Javier took the money. 2 days later, he deleted his testimony draft. Michael's ego was his only vulnerability. He started taking risks. The Santa Ana play. On September 1st, he personally planted a $250,000 ticket at a liquor store, posing as a delivery driver. Surveillance footage showed him adjusting his baseball cap, just enough for the camera to catch his jawline. The signature ticks. He began embedding MT in serial numbers, Chapter 2, then escalated to printing tiny crowns. His childhood nickname was King Mike in the microtext. The live test. He'd call lottery hotlines posing as a victim, testing if his tickets triggered fraud alerts. "My ticket says $1,000, but the machine won't pay. What's wrong?" He'd mimic sobs so convincingly, agents would apologize. The FBI's first break came from that Santa Ana footage. An analyst noticed the suspect's left hand had a distinctive scar, a healed burn shaped like a crescent moon. Michael got it at 19, melting PVC pipes to make concert passes. When agents cross-referenced burn injuries in parole records, his name surfaced. But by then, he'd already abandoned the warehouse. On September 5th, Michael sat in a Denny's booth in Pasadena, watching news vans swarm the lottery office. A waitress refilled his coffee. "Crazy about those fake tickets, huh?" she said. Michael nodded, stirring sugar. "People believe what they want to believe," he murmured. The waitress leaned in. "My cousin won $500 last week. Real win." She showed him the ticket. Michael's blood ran cold. The serial number was CA7X9B2R8K3P. The exact one traced to Luis Mendez's theft. Chapter 2. This ticket shouldn't exist. He excused himself to the restroom, heart hammering. How? Luis had vanished with that batch. Unless someone else had the serials. He checked the ticket under the stall light. Microprint read, CA Lottery, but the C was slightly smudged. His flaw. Someone was counterfeiting his counterfeits. A rival crew? A rogue distributor? Panic clawed his throat. He'd built an empire on controlling information. Now the machine was turning on him. That night, he burned the Beverly Hills school fund safe. Not out of guilt, out of fury. He'd spent months studying human greed, only to be betrayed by it. He called his inner circle, meet at the usual spot, midnight. But when he arrived at the Commerce warehouse, it was empty. Just a single counterfeit ticket on the floor. He picked it up. The hologram shimmered. The serial? MT7X9B2. His signature. Someone was signing his name. Michael didn't run. He sat on a crate, staring at the ticket. For the first time, he saw it clearly. The paper was slightly thinner, the UV ink a shade too blue. Amateur work. But who dared? His mind raced through possibilities. Javier? Luis? The Uber driver? Then it hit him. Rosa Martinez's nephew. The kid had access to his test app. He'd been paid to scan tickets. But what if he'd reverse-engineered the code? A car door slammed outside. Michael froze. Footsteps crunched on gravel. He gripped the ticket like a weapon. The door creaked open. Silhouetted against the moonlight stood a figure holding another ticket. "You missed one, Mike," the voice said. It was Keisha, the single mother who'd handed out blessings. Her eyes were hard. "This one's worth $10,000. But I think it's worth more to you." She stepped closer. "Turns out angels have price tags too." Michael forced a smile. "You don't know what you're playing with." Keisha flicked on her phone light, illuminating the ticket. The serial number glowed. And killer. His blood turned to ice. She wasn't selling. She was hunting. Keisha's phone light cut through the warehouse darkness, illuminating the ticket in her hand. Killer. Michael's breath hitched. That serial didn't exist in his system. Impossible. He'd designed every counterfeit sequence himself. She took a step closer, the concrete floor crunching under her worn sneakers. "You told me I was an angel," she said, voice trembling but sharp. "But angels don't watch kids starve while they count cash." Her son, Malik, had been hospitalized 2 weeks earlier. Diabetic ketoacidosis from skipped insulin doses. Keisha had pawned her wedding ring to pay for Rosa Martinez's blessing ticket, believing it would fix everything. When Rosa overdosed, Keisha realized the truth. Michael's miracles were poison. She'd spent nights reverse-engineering his methods. The smudged C in microprint? A flaw from his oldest printer. The blue UV ink? Only one supplier in Los Angeles carried it. And the serials? She tracked them through receipts, burner phone logs, even the gas station where Michael bought coffee every Tuesday. "I know where you sleep, Mike," she whispered. "I know where you count." She held out the ticket. "This one's real. Scanned clean at a Chevron in Inglewood yesterday. Paid out $10,000. Michael lunged for it. Keisha sidestepped, backing toward the door. "You taught us to exploit trust," she said. "Turns out I learned too well." The next morning, the California Lottery Office received an anonymous email. Check serial CA7X9B2R8K3P has been cashed 17 times. Attached were photos of identical tickets from 17 different stores. The subject line read, "Even the best-laid plans leave traces. Auditor Linda Ruiz froze." That serial, the one tied to Luis Mendez's stolen batch, Chapter 2, was impossible. Lottery records showed it had been printed once, for a store in Bakersfield that reported it lost. Yet here were 17 claims. She cross-referenced locations. Fresno, 8:17 a.m., retired teacher. San Jose, 1:44 p.m., college student. Sacramento, 6:02 p.m., construction worker. And 14 more, all within 72 hours. All paid out. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't counterfeiting. It was systemic. Someone had hacked the lottery's core validation system. Linda rushed to the fraud division, but her boss dismissed it. "Printer error," he grunted. "Happens with high-volume batches." She argued, "No printer duplicate serials across 3 counties." He waved her off. "Save it for the audit report." Defeated, Linda emailed the evidence to the FBI tip line, then deleted her sent folder. That same afternoon, Keisha sat in a booth at the Denny's where Michael had met the waitress. Chapter 4. Across from her was Javier Ruiz, the graphic designer who'd quit after Rosa Martinez's suicide attempt. He slid a USB drive across the table. "Everything I have," he said, avoiding her eyes. "Barcode algorithms, serial patterns, even his burner phone numbers." Keisha plugged it into her laptop. Folders bloomed on screen. Empty_master. Print_logs. Distributors. Inside distributors, a spreadsheet listed 87 contacts. Names, locations, payment amounts. One row glowed red. Keisha M. $50 per ticket, Malik Hospital Fund. Javier's hands shook. "He made me feel like a hero," he muttered. "Then Rosa tried to kill herself and I saw the truth. We weren't leveling the field. We were pushing people off cliffs." He'd spent weeks compiling evidence, hiding files in cloud storage under fake accounts. "But I'm scared," he admitted. "If he finds out." Keisha cut him off. "He's already looking for me." She showed him the killer ticket. "He knows I have this." Javier Pald. "That's his emergency protocol. If someone's compromised, he burns the operation and vanishes." He pointed to a subfolder. Killer_triggers. Inside, a text file read, "If serial MT killer is scanned, initiate Phoenix protocol. Warehouse, abandon. Distributors, terminate. Luis, eliminate." Keisha's blood turned to ice. Terminate. The warehouse raid happened at 3:17 a.m. on September 8th. FBI agents kicked in the chain-link gate, flashlights piercing the pre-dawn haze. Inside, they found ghostly evidence of Michael's empire. 3 lottery printers, stripped of hard drives, shredded paper in the sink, microprint remnants. A whiteboard with dry erase equations. Tickets printed divided by payouts equals profit margin. Spray painted on the wall. One voice can unravel an empire. Forensic accountant Linda Ruiz examined the printers. "He left the shells," she noted, running a gloved finger over a machine, "but took the brains." She spotted something glinting near the floor. A SIM card, stamped killer. Meanwhile, in a Glendale safe house, Michael watched the raid live on a police scanner app. His burner phone buzzed. Keisha M. Location, Denny's, Pasadena. He crushed the phone. Stupid. He'd underestimated her. Now she had Javier, the only person who knew the full network. He grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer. Phoenix protocol. But Keisha was already moving. At 4:03 a.m., she met Linda Ruiz in a 24-hour laundromat. Steam fogged the windows as Keisha handed over Javier's USB drive. "This is bigger than tickets," Linda said, scrolling through files. "He hacked the lottery's testing environment." She pointed to a log. August 28th, 9:14 p.m., accessed CA Lottery Sandbox, uploaded 10,000 serials. Michael hadn't just counterfeited tickets, he'd injected fake winners into the state's digital system. That's how he bypassed audits, Linda breathed. The system thinks these tickets are real. Keisha's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Michael's voice, distorted. You think you've won? You're just a stepping stone. A pause. Ask Linda about the Santa Ana ticket. Click. Linda froze. How does he know about Santa Ana? On August 22nd, Evelyn Reed's $5 million claim, Chapter 3, had tripped a silent alarm. Linda had personally analyzed that ticket. It contained a digital fingerprint, matching the sandbox breach. Only 3 people knew her boss, and her boss. The Santa Ana connection exploded at 10:02 a.m. Linda stormed into her supervisor's office, USB drive in hand. You sold us out, she accused. He didn't deny it. Michael offered me $200,000 to ignore anomalies, he said, staring at his lottery-themed mousepad. I thought it was small-time fraud. Linda played her trump card. Javier's files showed weekly payments to the supervisor's offshore account. You're not just dirty, she said. You're redundant. Michael's already cut you loose. She slid a printout across his desk. Security footage of Michael meeting the supervisor in a parking garage, dated September 1st. The supervisor paled. He threatened my family. Linda didn't care. She called the FBI, then drove to the Pasadena police station with Keisha. As they filed statements, Keisha's phone buzzed again. A photo, Malik, asleep in his hospital bed. Caption, Angels get paid in blood. See you soon. Keisha collapsed. Linda held her as she sobbed. He's hunting us, Keisha choked out. But I have one last move. She pulled out the killer ticket. This isn't a threat. It's a beacon. Every time it scans, it pings his location. She'd embedded a GPS tracker in the paper's fiber. A trick Javier taught her. He'll come for it. And when he does, she met Linda's eyes. We end this. That evening, Michael stood outside Keisha's apartment building. Rain slicked the streets as he studied her window. Dark. No movement. Too quiet. He pulled a burner phone from his pocket. One call to the hospital. Malik Torres? Critical condition. Code blue. A lie. But panic makes people predictable. He waited. At 9:47 p.m., Keisha's car screeched into the lot. She ran inside, coat soaked through. Michael followed, knife hidden in his sleeve. The hallway smelled of mildew and desperation. He reached her door. Crack. The door flew open. Keisha stood there, phone raised. Scanned it, she said, stepping aside. Inside, the killer ticket lay on the coffee table. Next to it, a laptop streaming live to the FBI command center. Michael's phone buzzed violently. 100 location pings flooding his burner. Agents swarmed the building. Michael bolted down the fire escape, but Linda Ruiz blocked the alley exit. You forgot something, she said, holding up a ticket. The serial glowed under her flashlight. Killer. She'd scanned it here, triangulating his position. Even the best-laid plans leave traces, she repeated Linda's audit report phrase. Sirens closed in. Michael backed toward a dumpster, knife raised. Keisha stepped into the alley, cradling Malik in her arms. He's fine, she said softly. We switched hospitals. Michael's shoulders slumped. The knife clattered to the ground. As cuffs snapped around his wrists, he laughed. A raw, broken sound. You think this ends with me? He spat. The machine's still running. Someone else will pick it up. Linda held up the killer ticket. Not with this. She tore it in half. The GPS tracker blinked once, then died. In the warehouse, the FBI found Michael's final print run. 10,000 tickets for the big play, but the serials were corrupted, scrambled letters spelling gone. He'd burned his own empire rather than let it fall into rival hands. As dawn broke over Pasadena, Keisha sat with Malik in the hospital. On the TV, news vans swarmed the warehouse raid. The anchor said, authorities believe this marks the end of California's largest lottery fraud. Keisha switched it off. The real story wasn't over. Somewhere, a cashier was scanning a ticket right now. Somewhere, hope was being sold as truth. And Michael Torres? He'd already started whispering names to his cellmate. A new network taking shape in the shadows. One voice had unraveled an empire. But empires always rebuild. The FBI's investigation moved like a slow avalanche. After Michael Torres's arrest on September 9th, agents combed through 17,000 pages of financial records, tracing $3.2 million in fraudulent payouts. They found his operation wasn't isolated. It fed into a larger money laundering network tied to the Sinaloa cartel. Michael had routed cash through shell companies posing as lottery consulting firms, funneling $800,000 to Tijuana within weeks. Forensic accountants uncovered a pattern. Every major payout coincided with cartel drug shipments crossing the border. The lottery scam wasn't just theft, it was camouflage. Agents seized Michael's burner phones, revealing encrypted chats with a handler using the alias El Jugador, the gambler. Messages referenced ticket batches and cleaning profits through churches. A raid on a San Fernando Valley warehouse exposed 40,000 counterfeit tickets ready for distribution, alongside ledger sheets listing payouts to 128 distributors. One name stood out: Keisha M. $12,500. Terminated. Michael had marked her for elimination after she stole the killer ticket. The breakthrough came from an unlikely source: Luis Mendez, the warehouse supervisor who'd vanished in August. Captured in Tijuana, he confessed under immunity that Michael paid him $5,000 monthly to siphon blank tickets. But Mendez's testimony unraveled when agents found $200,000 in his mattress, funds linked to a second scam run by a rival crew. Michael hadn't acted alone. He'd competed with other fraud rings, each exploiting the same lottery vulnerabilities. By October, the FBI identified 3 overlapping networks. Michael's crew targeted mid-tier jackpots, $500,000 to $250,000, using social engineering. Cartel-affiliated groups focused on micro-wins, $50 to $200, to launder small cash sums. A rogue lottery agent ring stole unclaimed prizes by falsifying winner records. The operation's scale stunned investigators. Over 8 months, counterfeit tickets drained $7.8 million from the California lottery, with 40% funneled to organized crime. Yet Michael remained the linchpin. His printers, his serial algorithms, his psychological playbook, they'd set the template others copied. As agents closed files, one truth haunted them. This wasn't the end. It was a blueprint. The human toll emerged in cold statistics: 1,243 verified victims, $4.1 million in unrecovered losses. Rosa Martinez, the single mother from Riverside, lost $800, the savings for her daughter's college fund. She took a second job cleaning offices but quit after panic attacks triggered by lottery ads. James Carter, the retired firefighter, remortgaged his home to chase phantom wins, losing $47,000 before his family intervened. His wife left him, citing financial infidelity. Pastor David Chen's church dissolved after congregants discovered his blessing lottery was funded by counterfeit tickets. 73 members lost $14,000 collectively, including a widow who donated her husband's life insurance payout. Evelyn Reed, who mortgaged her Long Beach home for $5 million in fake winnings, attempted suicide after the fraud was exposed. She survived but lost custody of her grandchildren, deemed financially unstable. The damage rippled beyond individuals. Maria Gonzalez's convenience store was boycotted after customers blamed her for paying out fake claims. She closed after 3 months, taking a job at a factory. A Stockton market owner, falsely accused of collaborating with Michael, was assaulted by angry patrons. His store burned down weeks later. Arson, police suspected. For every headline victim, dozens suffered silently. A college student dropped out after maxing credit cards on fake, near-miss tickets. A veteran sold his prosthetic limb to fund lottery investments. The California Lottery Office set up a restitution fund, but only 12% of victims received partial refunds. Most were left with nothing but shattered trust. And the haunting question: how did I believe it so completely? Michael Torres's trial began on December 3, 2018, in a Los Angeles courtroom packed with victims. Prosecutors presented 217 pieces of evidence: shredded ticket remnants, GPS logs from the killer tracker, and Luis Mendez's testimony detailing Michael's Phoenix Protocol for erasing trails. The star exhibit was a warehouse security tape showing Michael burning the Beverly Hills School Fund safe hours before his arrest. The defense argued Michael was a small fish in a larger criminal ecosystem, but the judge dismissed it. "You didn't exploit the system," the prosecutor thundered. "You designed the trap." On January 15, 2019, Michael received 12 years for fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. His inner circle faced lesser sentences. Javier Ruiz, 3 years, Keisha, immunity for cooperation, and Luis Mendez, 5 years. The cartel-linked distributors vanished before trial. One, a former Uber driver, was found dead in Mexicali with lottery tickets stuffed in his mouth, a cartel signature. The rogue lottery agent ring was dismantled separately. 2 agents received 8-year sentences for stealing $1.3 million in unclaimed prizes. As Michael was led to prison, a reporter shouted, "Do you regret it?" He paused, smirking. "Regret what? The system's rigged either way." The quote went viral, fueling conspiracy theories that the lottery itself was complicit. The case closed, but gaps lingered. Investigators never recovered $1.9 million in missing funds, likely smuggled to Mexico. A ledger found in Michael's safe house listed payments to an unknown entity. Project Phoenix, $350,000. No evidence emerged of what or who it funded. 2 distributors, including the Uber driver linked to the cartel, were never located. One, a woman named Ana Cruz, had processed 200-plus fake tickets before disappearing. Her last known location, a bus station near the Arizona border. Rumors swirled she joined a rival scam operation in Nevada. Most troubling was the serial number killer. Forensic analysis revealed it had been scanned 33 times after Michael's arrest, proving copycat crews were still active. The California Lottery Office quietly retired 50,000 serial ranges but refused to confirm breaches. Whispers persisted of a second wave, targeting smaller state lotteries. The FBI closed its file in March 2019, citing no active threats. But agents privately admitted the scam's infrastructure, printers, serial algorithms, distribution tactics, remained intact. All it needed was a new architect. The California Lottery overhauled its security. UV ink replaced with nanodot tracking, mandatory ID checks for claims over $50, and AI scanners to detect microprint flaws. But the real shift was cultural. Lottery ads stopped glorifying instant riches, emphasizing odds instead. Sales dropped 18% in 2019, the first decline in a decade. Victims formed support groups, sharing stories of financial ruin. Rosa Martinez testified before Congress, urging stricter anti-fraud laws. Her plea failed, but it sparked a class-action lawsuit against the lottery for negligent security, settled quietly in 2020 for undisclosed sums. Michael Torres, serving time in a federal penitentiary, became a cautionary tale. Inmates nicknamed him the Ticket King, trading his counterfeit techniques for cigarettes. Guards intercepted a letter he wrote to a fellow inmate. "The game's still running. Find the new players." By 2021, reports surfaced of identical scams in Texas and Florida. The serial numbers differed, but the playbook was unmistakable. Counterfeit tickets, exploited hope, silent complicity. The machine Michael built never stopped, it just changed operators.